Hey guys, MK here. Today I've just gotten a huge shipment of some new Diablo parts. So we're going to be doing some mods to the bike. Now you might have noticed that I've taken this pad off that I used to have, the brown leather one, and that's because one of the Diablo parts that we've got here is the tank cover. And so I'll take this out of the packaging in a second, but basically we're just going to be putting a cover on top of the tank, and it's going to be sort of a black matte finish, and it should make the tank a bit bigger, a bit chunkier, and just give it some more substance. And it'll look quite cool as well with the type of design that Diablo has done for the cover. And so and we also have some new seats. So that's the pillion and the passenger, and the rider seats there. So we'll be replacing those, and my goal is just going to be blacking out the whole bike, so it's all going to be just like a black gray sort of finish with the stock rear fender there. And so the rest of it's going to be as matte black as possible, and it's going to be looking pretty cool, I think. Yeah, that's just main reason for that, is just a change in tastes. I was a big fan of the leather, like the brown leather sort of finish with the accents and the tank pad here. And I was sort of into that from the cafe racer point of view, because when this is my 2021 Honda Rebel 500, and when I had it, bought it new, completely stock, I opted for, obviously it comes with the brown seat stock, and I got some brown grips, and I was just leaning into that cafe racer sort of look for the whole bike. And yeah, now with the Diablo bar and the mirrors and everything, I've sort of shifted to like a bobber mindset. So now I'm just trying to transform this into as much of like an Indian motorcycle, like an Indian Scout or something like that, like a bobber motorcycle. And so the all black setup is going to do like very well for what I'm going for, sort of. And yeah, I got the side mounted license plate like the Indian Scout and everything, so I'm really trying to lean into that bobber sort of look. And yeah, this is new as well. This is a genuine Diablo part from K-speed also, which I received about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't feel it needed a video because it's a very small install. It's just a plastic fairing for the brake light, and it's just got 3M tape on the inside, so you just take that off and stick it on. I didn't feel that needed a video, but it's there for reference as well, and I think it makes the rear fender look quite nice. But in the future, if I get another car, and obviously I don't need to take anyone around on the pillion, I'll get rid of that pillion seat and I'll get a shorter rear fender to lean more into that bobber look. So ideally it'll come down and sort of finish there. And I know K-speed does a Diablo part for the rear fender as well, and it's the same matte black that the tank cover is, so it's all matching. So that's a probable future upgrade for the bike, but for now I'm wanting to have a pillion, and so I've opted to get the passenger seat as well, so we can have that matching. And they've both got the diamond pattern, which I really like, as opposed to on the stock one, the main seat obviously has a diamond pattern, but then the passenger is just like a plain sort of seat. And so I love how Diablo has done the diamond pattern for both of the seats, so that's going to look really flush with the whole bike setup that I'm going for here. So let's get into it. Basically, I'll chuck these on first, and then we'll take a look at the tank cover. So see, this is what it looks like. It's got a diamond pattern, obviously, and it's quite firm. It's quite a bit chunkier than the stock OEM seat for the Rebel 500, and this is going to be quite more comfortable than the OEM one. And a lot of the time, if I see people complaining about like the OEM seat's uncomfortable, that's part of the story, but also part of the story is the rear suspension. So in the future, I might be looking to switch those out. I know Diablo does some rear suspensions which are more firm, and they have the same shock height, but it'll be more firm. And if you weigh more, I don't, I weigh around 68 kilos, but if you weigh more and you're quite a bigger rider, then the firmest suspension is going to be an easier ride for you. For me personally, I might look at getting the Öhlins or YSS shock suspension because it has a lot more customization options, and you can adjust the spring height to exactly where you want it, and you can adjust the rebound of the spring and all of that. So I might be looking at upgrading the shocks as well, or even switching to something with a lower shock height to just bring the rear fender down. But as it is now, this is quite good, so we'll just focus on the seat. And yeah, as a temporary fix, this will definitely be much better than the OEM one, but we might look at doing that at some point in the future for this bike, because there is a whole suite of mods that I'm wanting to do for this bike to turn it into a Diablo Rebel. And so if you don't know Diablo, Diablo Custom Works, that's their logo. There you go, Diablo Custom Works. And so if you don't know who they are, it's a manufacturing brand based out of Thailand, and their like online presence is as K-speed, which is the website and the manufacturer. And so they produce a whole range of mods or bike parts for the Rebel 500. And they have quite a lot more bikes that have custom... there we go, there's another biker somewhere. But they have a whole range of custom works for many different types of bikes. But because the Rebel 500 is a big seller in Thailand, they have a really, really big range of Rebel 500 mods, including like the ones I have currently are the Footpegs, the mirrors, handlebar, Reservoir cover, and there's a whole bunch of things that you can get for it to turn it from a stock Rebel to something that looks completely different. And one thing I really love about the Rebels is that two Honda Rebel 500s can look very, very different depending on what mods you've done to it. And so, as I said, I'm leaning into the bobber look. So I've got the bobber style mirrors, the downswept mirrors, and we're obviously going to be blacking out the bike. And yeah, if you guys want any of these parts, like the seat, we've got the tank cover, anything from any of my videos, I always leave a link to the products in my description. So if you like how this looks, and I'll leave a link for that as well. If you like how everything looks and you want to purchase them, you can purchase it straight from K-speed Thailand, and it gets to Australia very quickly if that's where you're watching from. They send it with DHL Express usually, and it's very, very quick, very efficient. And the guy that runs K-speed and does all these parts, I'm not sure if he manufactures them, but obviously he does the distribution of all these parts. He's a very easy person to deal with, and he always gets everything right and done on time. And I just love to see stuff done right, especially when it's to do with your bike. And obviously, like me, I assume everyone's a massive bike enthusiast, so it's really nice to see that he takes pride in what he does and everything just comes out really nicely. That's enough talking, I think. Let's just get into putting the seat on. This is not a massively difficult task. You've got the Diablo logo there. Oh, one thing I'll mention though is I think they recently changed their branding, or there's a couple different brandings, and so when you get a product, you either get one or the other, and I'm not sure what it's based on. But for example, this one is Diabolus or Diabolus, or I don't know, but you've got the original branding, which is just Diablo. And so I don't really know how I feel about the change in branding or there being multiple ones. I really do like the Diablo much better than Diabolus, but either way, same brand, same quality parts. Like as an example, the levers, which are also K-speed Diablo parts. What do these say? Yeah, so that says Diabolus as well. So it's not a big deal, but yeah, I feel Diablo is a much better way to go. But anyway, as I was saying, this is really not a difficult install whatsoever. And so it's literally just 2 bolts under the OEM seat here. So that's undone with a hex key. And obviously you just reuse the same bolts, chuck them through here, and it'll be the same install, the same way you took off the OEM one. So what we'll do is we'll get our hex key out. This is a bit difficult to do with one hand, but we'll see if we can manage. And so just lifting up the rear seat, we've got that locked in. So just turning it. So there you go. So we'll take that one off. And so I think the one downside to the Diablo aftermarket seat is, as you can see, it doesn't feature a tool storage as the OEM one does. And I suppose that's because this one's much thicker. So for them to incorporate a tool storage, one, it'll be less comfortable for you because there's tools taking up some space and therefore there's less padding for that one. So it sort of defeats the purpose of having a seat that is much wider and more comfortable than the stock one, obviously. And yeah, I guess they didn't want to dig out part of that seat to put the tools on. But if you're like me and you carry around a toolkit, which is much better than this, just this anyway, you'll be fine. This is only just 2 different screwdrivers. You've got flathead and Phillips and some different wrenches, 14 through to 10. So this, I feel, is not an issue whatsoever. But if that is really a breaking point for you, maybe you won't want to consider the aftermarket seat. But I really do think it's not a massive deal. Okay, so to get this one on, there's a little ledge there. So you'll just hook that under. You'll just hook that under here. And so if you just slide that on, that'll lock in at the front. So you see I'm pushing on the back. So that's locked in at the front. And obviously you'll just line up the screw holes there and you'll reuse the ones that are here and just plug them through and screw them in. So we'll do that and I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so I've got this seat on and already that is feeling much better than the OEM one. It was just a little difficult to get the screws through the cutouts there, obviously, because this is so much thicker than the OEM one. But I think that looks really nice. And yeah, it really fits with the bike. It's not so thick that it sort of ruins the sleekness of the bike, but it's just there to make it sort of look right. And after we put the tank cover on, it'll look really complete and it'll look really great. So let's get the pillion one on. This is just undoing this key, and on the pillion seat there is a little cutout. Okay, maybe not on this one, but on the OEM one there'll be a little cutout just under here, which you slide and there'll be like a bolt coming out of the fender, which you slide the pillion onto and then pull it back to screw it in. But this one looks like you just put it down and then you bolt it in straight away. So let's just undo this and we'll figure out how to put that on. All right, so we've got the pillion seat off and that's what it looks like under the pillion seat for the rear fender. It's got a little bolt sticking out there, and for the rear pillion seat, it just slides in here, pulls back because there's a little gap here which can fit just through this narrow part. And then once you slide that on, you just bolt it down there. All right, so I was looking at the pillion seat for a while, and I was really just figuring out what the hell is going on here, because just by bolting that down, it's not going to hold anywhere, because obviously you've got that side bolted down through the screw hole there, but this side's free to be moving. And so I was just looking at this for a while. I was just looking over my order, checking, is this definitely for the 2021 model? Is there something I'm not getting? And so, key thing that I noticed, you see I scratched it up a little bit with the bolt there, but that's okay. You're not seeing that anyway. The key thing here is that you actually need to transfer this plate, this bracket that you see, over to the other one. And so that's what's going to go under the bolt there, and it'll mount exactly like the OEM one. So just undo these two bolts, take this bracket out, and that's what these ones are for. You just slot it in, do up the bolt again, just like they've done in the OEM one, and then you're ready to go. So I'll do that, and then I'll come back. So I've just used a 10mm spanner to undo these bolts, and funnily enough, this is the one I got from the OEM one. So really ironically, I thought I'd never have to use the tools that were under the OEM seat, but here we are, and this is coming really useful because I didn't come here, or I don't have any tools on me at the moment. But yeah, really funny. So just 10mm spanner to undo these bolts, and obviously once you've undone both of those, the bracket will slide down, and then same thread to just do them up on the new bolts on the new pillion seat from Diablo. So we'll skip to the part where I've undone this bolt and I'm just putting them on here. Alright, so whilst trying to take this bracket off, I realized that the strap that goes on the OEM seat, just over the top like that, has these metal things which are on top of the bracket. And one key thing, I tried bending it, pulling it, whatever, and one key thing that's very notable is that these unscrew. They are threaded, and yeah, it really doesn't look it, but I just tried pulling it using force, whatever, it would not budge. But then I tried turning it, and if you can break that thread or break the locking mechanism, then it's much easier to undo. Even after you've done that first initial turn, you can't pull it up, but if you just keep turning and turning, and it's a bit uncomfortable because obviously when these are hooked on the sides and you're turning it around, the cable's just turning itself and getting entangled, so it gets a bit harder. But that's the only way I could get this off. So just, if you're having trouble getting this off, just try turning it, and that makes it a lot easier. But now that we've got the bracket off, we can actually just put it back on. And so, just so you know, this was sitting with the big part facing down. So you'll want to install that the same way on the new one. So big part's facing down there. And yeah, if you want to reuse the strap, you can. Obviously, as I said, I'm blacking out the whole bike, so I won't be using the strap. But once you've got the bracket on, you can just go ahead and put the bolts straight back on. So if you just put these back on and just do them up until the bracket's held securely in place, then we can go ahead and install the pillion seat just like you would put the OEM one on. So I'll do the bracket up and then I'll come back. Alright, so we've done the bracket up and just installing it now. If you place the larger hole of the bracket on top of that screw there, I know you can't see it, but you'll be able to feel it. And if you just press down and move it forward, it'll align with the other hole there. And then you can bolt that down, and obviously it'll hold in place like that. So it's a bit difficult to do with one hand. You'll just have to line this up, put it on that bolt right there, slide it forward, and then you can do up that bolt there. So I'll do that and I'll come back. Alright, so we've got the pillion seat on. So what I found is this bolt comes with a washer on top of it, but I tried using it with a washer, but it's actually makes it too far away from the thread, so it doesn't bolt in well. So if you just remove the washer, and I think this goes makes for a much cleaner look anyway, so just go with the bolt, screw that in, and that's being held really nicely now. So that's what it looks like, and I am really happy with how that turned out. That looks really great for the bike. And so now we'll go over and install the tank cover, and we'll look at the bike once everything's done. Alrighty guys, and we're back. So I've taken the tank cover out of its packaging, and this is what it looks like. So it's got the Diabolus branding on the front. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit disappointed it doesn't say Diablo, because I think that's much cooler. But it's fine either way. Diablo is a fantastic brand. And so this is what it looks like. Obviously it's plastic, but on the inside it's got 3M tape, it's got the Diablo branding, and basically all you have to do, it's very simple. Just take the 3M tape off, use a heat gun just to heat up the adhesive so it sticks to the bike much better. And yeah, there shouldn't be any fitment issues. That's usually why I go for the genuine Diablo parts, because you may have seen that there are cheap replicas on sites such as AliExpress, eBay, etc., which have the Diablo custom work style, but obviously they're cheaply made in China, mass produced, and so they tend to have fitment issues. And so the reason I go for genuine Diablo parts is because I have the assurance that they're going to fit well and there's not going to be any problems with them. So what I noticed when unboxing this as well is that Diablo, or K-speed, has been kind enough to include some stickers that say K-speed custom works or custom bike, and they also threw in a cute little helmet keyring here. I'm not sure, I haven't gotten this before. This is the first time I've been getting the order, because this has been one of my bigger orders, north of $600, $700 for the seats and the tank cover. And also, next video that's going to be coming, I'll be changing out the headlight cowl for a Diablo Custom Works headlight cowl. And so, being one of my larger orders, they've included these sort of freebies, which I think are really cool. And I might be inclined to add a K-speed sticker on the side of the tank. But we'll see. We'll put this on, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, so we've just spent some time warming up the 3M tape with just a blow dryer, and now that it's quite warm, we can just go ahead and just position this and just start slotting it on. There we go. And just down here as well. Perfect. So just look at the fitment there. It should be covering all of the tank except this bit down here. And so once that's on, you'll be able to check the fitment based on the fuel tank cap, because that is perfectly sitting on the inside of that. So once that's on nicely, just putting some pressure on where they've placed the 3M tape, which is just on the inside here, on the top, and just around the side. And there we go. I can feel it's quite warm, the plastic, on the outside as well. Be careful not to overdo it, because you don't want to damage it, damage the plastic, but just warm up the 3M tape enough, so the adhesive properties more exposed of the 3M tape, and that way the adhesion is going to be better to the tank. Also, good thing to note is make sure you clean your tank first before you put this on. This is what it looks like finally done. So you've got the tank cover on there, and that's looking really beefy and really nice. That's what the bike looks like all together. Yeah, I am super pleased with how that's been placed on there and how the whole thing's come out. And the whole bike is blacked out now. Looks really great. It feels really great. I sat on the seat for a bit and it was really comfortable, a lot more comfortable than the OEM one. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. Obviously, we've got the K-speed stickers here. If we just have a look, that's how it's going to look if you decide to put that on. But yeah, I feel just the full black looks really great. So I'm really happy with it. As I said before, I'll do the headlight mod coming next for the Diablo headlight fairing. And once we change that out, we'll successfully have built a K-speed catalog Diablo Rebel. So most of their parts on the bike now, including the brake light cover, the seats, obviously, foot pegs. Now we've got the tank cover, grips, handlebar, mirrors, levers, and we'll have the headlight cal soon. And in that video as well, we'll throw in an extra mod for the radiator. So the radiator cover that's on here currently is the plastic OEM one, which we'll be trading out for a metal one, and that should complete the look. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I can do with the bike, but K-speed has a massive catalog of mods, obviously, as I said before, for the Rebel 500, as it's a very popular bike in Thailand, where K-speed is based out of. There you go, there are the cockatoos. Typical Australian day. So yeah, I'll be doing some more mods and trying to make this a full Diablo Rebel. And yeah, one thing that's pretty notable is the front indicators, which I think is just a bit much. Obviously they work and they're quite big, but next step would be removing those and just putting some new indicators, some smaller bullet ones here or under the handlebars or somewhere further down, but we'll figure that out at some point. For now, this is what the Rebel 500 Diablo Rebel looks like, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe because we'll have more mods for the Rebel 500 coming and you don't want to miss those. Like for example, we've done the accessory socket and posted a video for that as well, and obviously this one here. So if you want to stay tuned, we've got a bunch more mods coming for the Rebel 500 and I'll be making videos about all of them. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and I'll see you on the next one.